Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very exciting video for you. This is going to be the first in a new vlog series that I'm going to be doing here on my channel whenever I get a chance. I'm going to be reaching out to other creators and they are going to be influencing my TBR for one vlog. And what I mean by that is I am going to be playing Tic-Tac-Toe TBR Takedown. So I recently showed you guys my reorganization of my TBR shelf. And I recently got one of those fun little library scanners, and I have been able to load all of my TBR books into a list kind of format. A program that shows like all of my TBR books, all of my read books, all of that, and I'm able to send that link to different people so they can see the books on my TBR. And of course, like all readers, I'm just trying to reduce the number of TBR books on my TBR shelf, and because I always want to add new books, you know, but as I add and remove books from my TBR, they will be able to stay up to date on my TBR. So I challenged my friend Jules to come up with a tic-tac-toe board for me. Well, I created the board and I let her choose books off of that TBR to put into the board in any order that she wanted to. And I told her she could use just the titles of the book or, you know, pictures of the covers that she wanted me to tackle. And she came up with this board. So this is the tic-tac-toe board that Jules created for me. And my goal is to read 3 of the books from this list getting a tic-tac-toe. So they have to be like either vertical lines or horizontal, or I could do like the crisscross method. Any move that is allowed in tic-tac-toe, I am allowed to get on my board. So these are the books that she has chosen to put on the board. I love the mix of genres, links, fiction, nonfiction, spring books, not spring books. She has a memoir on here, a romance on here, thrillers on here, general fiction, dark romance, cozy. If there was not a cozy, it would definitely not have been like a Jules tic-tac-toe board. But on her tic-tac-toe board, she went with The Things We Keep by Sally Hepworth, Live and Let Chai by Bree Baker, Leather and Lark by Bren Weaver, Reckless by Lauren Roberts, Love and Saffron by Kim Fay, Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan, Give Me Butterflies by Julian Meadows, One of Us is Dead by Geneva Rose, and The Memoir by Matthew Perry. I have looked through this and I have decided which books I want to tackle. Unbeknownst to Jules, I had already done my TBR video and picked prompts from my TBR jar, and Give Me Butterflies by Jillian Meadows was already on my June TBR. If you watched that video, you will see I pulled butterflies on the cover from my TBR jar and I chose this book. So this was already like gonna be read in June anyway. So I was like, should I go for the straight line, the bottom line, or like a diagonal? I also recently read Powerful by Lauren Roberts, the little novella in this fantasy trilogy, and I really enjoyed this. I read the first book in March, and then I just read this here in May, and so I wanted to go ahead and continue on the series before I forget all of the details. So I'm also gonna choose Reckless by Lauren Roberts, and then of course that means that I'm doing that first column there, and the top one on that is The Things We Keep by Sally Hepworth. So these are actually the 3 books that I will be reading in this vlog. I'm really excited. So let's start with The Things We Keep. It says Anna Foster is only 38 years old, but her mind is slowly slipping away from her. Armed with her keen wit and sharp-eyed determination, she knows that her family is doing what they believe to be best when they take her to Roslyn House, an assisted living facility. But Anna has a secret. She does not plan on staying. She also knows there's just one other resident who is her age, Luke. And What she does not expect is the love that blossoms between her and Luke, even as she resists her new life. As her disease steals more and more of her memory, Anna fights to hold on to what she knows, including her relationship with Luke. So I'm really excited about this one. I have read many Sally Hepworth books at this point. I've done a Sally Hepworth author spotlight on my podcast, Talk Bookish to Me, and this is one of the ones that I wanted to get to that I haven't already. Backlist books. I know Keisha really enjoyed this one. She's the one that did the author spotlight video, and I was like, okay, I really need to get it and read it, and it's finally happening. And then Reckless is the second book in the trilogy, but there is that novella that came before this that I read. This is a young adult fantasy series, much like Hunger Games or Red Queen, but basically you have people that have powers and people that don't, and you follow a person who doesn't kind of enter into these trials and do really well. There's also a romance, and yeah, it's really, really interesting. It says, I wonder how the enforcer kneels before anyone. You're afraid of me. Kai meets my statement with a stare, steady but drawn out like a sigh. I'd be a fool not to fear something so fierce. I swallow. And are you not? A fool, that is? He stands, holding my gaze until he's the one looking down on me. Not anymore. So I'm really excited to jump into this. I know a lot of people said that they didn't love this as much as like the first book, but I'm hoping that I do. I don't read a lot of fantasy, so maybe this will work for me. Last but not least, I'm going to be reading Give Me Butterflies, which is a romance book about a sunshiny entomologist and a grumpy astronomer, and they're a match written in the stars, if only they can stop being so logical. And yeah, I'm just really, really excited to read all of these, and I think I'm just gonna go down the row and read The Things We Keep, Reckless, and Give Me Butterflies in that order. But yeah, this is the first vlog in this new fun series where I get other people to pick books from my TBR, put them in a tic-tac-toe board, and then I tackle my TBR. So thank you so much, Jules, for participating in this first episode. Yeah, let's get reading. More casual. I love this shirt that I got when I was in North Dakota at the More Than Words bookstore. Yeah, I love it. It's so comfy, and I took off my makeup because who likes to wear makeup around the house? Not this girly. But earlier today I did start The Things We Keep, and I'm on page 68 so far, and I'm really, really enjoying it. But I'm so concerned about the events and like what's to come. It just seems so sad already, and I don't think that I am prepared. The writing, gorgeous. The characters are already like some of my all-time favorites. I can't imagine being Anna in this situation. Her mother also had dementia as the disease steals more and more of her memory. It's crazy because at one point she talks about like taking her life, and she says that it's almost like a ticking time bomb. You have to take your life before you forget to take your life. Most people who want to kill themselves can wake up and decide, you know what, today's not the day. If I feel terrible tomorrow, I'll do it then, or the day after, maybe next year. But the thing about having Alzheimer's is that you're a ticking clock. You don't have the luxury of waiting. You have to beat the bomb. That was just so sad. Sad that we're even talking about suicide. So sad that you're doing it because of a disease eating away at your memories. And so sad that, like, just the combination of those things. Yeah, so sad. So lots of content warnings and stuff like that, but such a good read so far. I'm absolutely loving it. I am getting two perspectives. I'm getting Anna's perspective. She's the one, the 38-year-old. And then there's Eve Bennett, who is suddenly thrust into the role of a single mother, and she has a 7-year-old daughter, and she is the new cook at Roslyn House, where she meets Anna and Luke. And when a tragic incident leads Anna and Luke's families to separate them, Eve finds herself questioning what she is willing to risk to help them. She has her own secrets and desperate circumstances that raise the stakes even higher. So I'm not to the point where they want to, like, separate yet, but one thing that I love is that Anna is kind of hating life, obviously, because of her situation and stuff. And Luke, he has his own set of circumstances going on. He's also younger, but he's losing his ability to speak. And he's like losing words, mixing up words, stuttering. And he has so much life and he just wants to live. And he has, like, his mom who's aging, who has power of attorney. So they want to pass that power of attorney on to the sister, but he's scared what his sister will do, you know, like how she'll handle that responsibility. And he's worried that she won't do what he would want her to do. So many good conversations, and I'm only on page 68, so I cannot imagine what's to come. All right, I'm gonna do another quick update on The Things We Keep by Sally Hepworth, because I'm flying through this book. I'm obsessed. I just sat here and read to page 143, and I do have Patreon reading sprints tonight, so I'm even gonna guess that I could finish this book today. It is just so good. I'm totally absorbed. I love the POVs that I'm getting. There's lots of good conversations around Alzheimer's, dementia, and things like that, because there was or is a romance between Anna and Luke, but like with Anna's failing memory, does that, like, is there a consent there? And it's just like, I never thought of that. So, and then like the care facility and like their families are saying to like lock them in their rooms at night because they like to like wander, or they'll end up together. And just, there's so many things to think about in this book, and I just love it so much. I feel like she's handling it with such care and concern and like compassionate understanding of human nature. That's the last. With a huge heart, humor, and a compassionate understanding of human nature, Sally Hepworth delivers a page-turning novel about the power of love to grow and endure even when faced with the most devastating of obstacles. You won't forget this book. That is the best way to say it. A compassionate understanding of human nature. Guys, I already know it's going to be 5 stars, so you're going to have to pick it up. So what a way to start the TIC-TAC-TOE TBR takedown. Thank you, Jules, for putting this on the tic-tac-toe board. I know the lighting is horrible. It's late. I finished sprints with my patrons and I finished reading The Things We Keep by Sally Hepworth. I didn't finish it on sprints. I just had like a little bit left to go, and I was like, I cannot go to bed without finishing this book. This book was so good. There's nothing like super like shocking or like, I don't know how to describe this book. There was nothing that shocked me about the book. It wasn't, it's more, I don't even know what to classify this as, just like general fiction, contemporary, I would say, but a compassionate understanding of human nature, as it says on the back. Like, Sally just knows how to write interesting characters and interesting situations and add compassion and understanding on top of it. Like, I've never read a book quite like this. I have read other books about dementia and Alzheimer's, and while those books made me emotional, and I will say like this one didn't make me emotional, I think I've been able to step back from it a little bit because my family member who was dealing with memory loss and memory care and all of that has since passed, and it's been over a year now since their passing. And while I still can suddenly, without warning, break out in tears about it, I think I've healed a lot about that, and this book just brought up so many things that I had never thought about or considered when it comes to things that attack people's memories, like dementia and Alzheimer's. And so it made me inquisitive, but also like more compassionate, not only for the people in the situation, but like family members having to think of like these things and like what they would do. And I just, it made me think, it made me become like a more compassionate person and understand the many layers to those diseases and the complexities of those things, especially because like for my situation, my mother-in-law was in her, you know, upper 80s, early 90s when all of this stuff was going on, and she passed. These people were in their 30s, and that just brings like a whole different dynamic to their lives and questions and things that can arise. And I absolutely loved this book. So obviously, as if you couldn't tell, The Things We Keep by Sally Hepworth, 5 freaking stars. I love this book with my whole heart. It is my favorite Sally Hepworth book to date, and I think I'll be thinking about it like for a long time, just like some of the questions and concerns that like got raised in here. But I also loved reading about like Eve and her daughter Clementine and the situation that they were going through. It was just so interesting. Let me take my medicine and then we'll talk about what I'm currently reading. As you guys heard me talk about last night, I finished The Things We Keep by Sally Hepworth, and I absolutely loved that book. book. It's one of those books that I could just like immediately start at the beginning and read again. It was so page turning. I read it in one sitting. I just was so enamored, and I think at some point it is one of those books that I do want to go back and reread. Favorite Sally Hepworth, 10 out of 10, do recommend. Next up on this TIC-TAC-TOE TBR Takedown, I'm going to be reading Reckless by Lauren Roberts. And because I'm on steroids right now for an eczema flare-up, I couldn't go to sleep last night, so even after I finished The Things We Keep, I dove into Reckless, and I made it to chapter 4, page 27, and I'm already really enjoying this, getting back into the world. It's one of the few fantasy books that I've been reading lately. I actually picked this up when I was in Minnesota, Maple Grove, Minnesota, right across in the same shopping center where Nadia Cakes is. There's a Barnes & Noble, or very close by that location. And this is where I picked up this copy. And because I got it there, they gave me some character stickers. So we have Kai and Kit and Peyton, and I just think these are really, really fun. So I don't know where I'm going to stick them. If I had like a Kindle with like a case and stuff, I'd probably put them in there, but yeah, very cool. Alice Maria Power is the illustrator of these. So that's kind of who I'm picturing when I'm reading the book. But they do look like full-blown adults, especially Peyton. But it is what it is. And I have my little receipt from Maple Grove. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pick this up and read some. I got things that I needed to get done. Grocery shopping, vacuuming, like cleaning up. The only thing I think I do want to work on today is over here. I have these two like drawer organizer things from IKEA. At my old house, I had one for my desk stuff, and I had it like under my desk with like washi tape, post-it notes, pens, pencils, markers, thank you notes, things like that organized in it. And then I had one in my bedroom for like my hair dryer, my extra makeup, things like that. But now I have both of them here in my office for all my office stuff. So I think I'm going to put my printer paper in the bottom of one, and then I kind of want to just go through, organize, throw away stuff I don't want, trash, etc., and get that organized. So I may work on that in a little bit, but for now I'm ready to dive into this, and yeah, then I'll give you a little update. Okay, I'm here with my first reading update for Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I read to page 180 yesterday, so 179 pages, and I get what people are saying about this book. There's not a lot that's really happening. I mean, there's basically like one thing. So, someone's going after someone. That's all I'll really say. And that's what's happening. That person is going after that person. One person's trying to evade, one person's chasing the person, and that's really all there is. I will say that there is a map in here. It's the same map that was in the first book. So we have this gorgeous fantasy map. And then we also have this family tree, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I'm about here. So I've read quite a bit. And I'm enjoying it. And the moments that I'm getting between the different characters, I'm really enjoying, but there's not a lot of plot. It definitely is more of a like one thing happening. There's minor little things that you have to pull out, but I'm still enjoying it. I just have to be so vague about everything that I'm saying because it's the second book in the series. Holy crap, you guys. I just finished Reckless. And that ending though. I'm gonna give this one 3 out of 5 stars. But like, wow. I'm so glad I have the final book on my shelves so I can read that one. So I agree that this one isn't as good as like the first or even the novella, because the plot is just kind of the same. You have a person going after a person to take them to a place. And that's the entire book. That takes the entire 370 pages of the book for them to track the person down, find the person, and get them back to where they're supposed to be. So that's the entire plot. But the romance I loved, the ending I'm excited about. So this is the second book. We're gonna move on to the third. We'll probably do that tomorrow. It's time for an update. I haven't really updated in a while because this project actually started before Jules came to visit me. So we had this going, then she came and visited me. I was in the middle of this project when she arrived, so I kind of wasn't able to update too much, but I did finish Reckless, which is also a book I can't really tell you that much about because it's the second book in a series. You know, I don't want to spoil things that happen in the first book, but it's a YA fantasy series about people that have powers, people that don't. It's very much like the Hunger Games. There's trials, people compete, and there's romance, and there's also like a resistance. And yeah, the ending of that book is wild, the first book, and this book is much more tame. There's very like one overarching like thing, plot that's going on, and it's not very nuanced. It's very focused. It does have more romance than the first book did, and you do find out things about like the people with powers and the people without, and like the government and things like that. But for the most part, you're really just doing one thing in this book. I was pleasantly surprised by the ending, and I'm very excited to move on to the third and final book of the trilogy, which I picked up a little while ago. But in this video, I need to get back to my TIC-TAC-TOE TBR takedown and finish our third book for the tic-tac-toe, which is Give Me Butterflies by Jillian Meadows. Absolutely love this cover. I actually did start it last night before bed, but I only read to chapter 4, page 22, and it's really cute. I just got to meet like each of the characters, so Millie and Finn, and she is like a sunshine person and he's very like grumpy. And I also like that it is dual POV, and then also at the top of his chapters there are stars, and then at the top of her chapters there are butterflies. So yeah, I really don't even have like a good synopsis of what's happening, and I've never really read the entire synopsis on the back. So I want to go ahead and get further into this and then check in with you and let you know my thoughts. But I thought it was very fun and like kind of like a crossover that I was working on this tic-tac-toe TBR takedown, and Jules is the one that picked my TBR, and then she also came to visit me while I was working on this TBR tic-tac-toe thing, and she didn't even know which books I was like she gave me the books obviously, but she did not know which tic-tac-toe I chose to tackle until she came to visit me. And then she saw like what I was reading. She was like, oh, okay. So yeah, so that was fun. But anyway, I am going to read some more of this and then I will check in with you. Make sure you check out Jules. She is linked in the description box. She reads pretty much everything. Yeah, and she's a really good friend of mine, so go check her out. Update time. I'm only on chapter 8, page 48, but I'm really enjoying it. And so far, Millie is going for a position that she's really wanted, and Finn is on the committee to hire the new person. So they have that kind of connection. But he almost immediately warms up to her. Like, why are they saying like, I mean, I guess he was grumpy, but he seems immediately likable in my opinion, especially because we get his perspective. But anyway, it's the summer, so I think like summertime is a great time to pick this up. School has just ended. They're doing the summer programs for kids, like little camps and stuff like that. She's doing like planting seeds and stuff like that, insects, and he's doing like rockets and whatever. So they're working like 2 different departments, but he goes and drops off 2 little girls on like the first day of camp, and she's like, I didn't even know he had kids. And then later we find out that it's actually his nieces, and he's like, well, I guess technically they are mine now because they're his sister's kids, and his sister recently passed. So precious. So he's trying to learn to cook and braid hair and like just give them a good life when he knows nothing about being a dad. I just find that so freaking wholesome. So I can't wait to read more and find out how they become a little family. I'm about to tune in to Jessie's sprint. It's just a few minutes before she goes live, and I think that will be a good thing to help me focus and read some more. I've made it to chapter 14, page 90, and it's super cute. They're instantly attracted to one another, and like she has been 6 months out of a bad relationship. He's kind of grieving his sister and taking over guardianship of the children, and they also work together, so that's a little tricky, and I don't know how that's going to work out because it's her and another person that are going to be like going up for this like trial run or something like that. Like they're gonna tour the committee around like the butterfly house or something like that and like show off their knowledge and stuff. But I don't know if it would be a great idea for them to work together, you know? Like if they start dating. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's so sweet and wholesome. I mean, sexy times are coming, I can tell, because he's talking about looking at her cleavage, looking at her, how her clothes fit her and all that. So if you don't like that, don't read this book because it happens pretty early on, the looking. So anyway, I'm enjoying it so far. So can't wait to dive in on some reading sprints. Oh, she's already live. I did not know she was going live early. Before we get reading for today, we have a mission of making some banana bread. I have some bananas back there that I bought a little spotty so that they would be really good for banana bread. And I pulled this recipe from All Recipes last night. It's just flour, baking soda, salt, brown sugar, butter, 2 eggs, and overripe bananas. So I pulled everything from my pantry. I have the butter, I have the egg, like I said, I have the bananas. Let's make banana bread. Last night I got to join Jessie for some reading sprints, which was so nice to connect with her after a weekend of not really being able to catch up with her. But I read Give Me Butterflies, obviously, and I made it 50% of the way through the book. I'm really enjoying the dual POV. I'm not like 5-star loving it, but I think it's really cute and really wholesome, and it does have some like deeper themes and topics that aren't explored too much. And I do think they're going to make a cute little family at the end, but I'm ready to sit down and do some more reading and hopefully finish this up today. nothing like finishing things up with another spicy scene. I did not know this, but Millie shares her snickerdoodle recipe in here. I know I just made banana bread today, but I kind of want to make these snickerdoodles tomorrow. Butter, ooh, I probably don't have enough butter. Butter, sugar, eggs, vanilla, all-purpose flour, cream of tartar, baking soda, salt, cinnamon. The only thing I'm a little iffy on is if I have enough butter. I wonder how many this makes. Like if I could cut it in half, but maybe I'll make some snickerdoodles. That's definitely a possibility. Well, I finished Give Me Butterflies, and I'm gonna give it 3 stars because I really did enjoy the main storyline of them falling in love, her going for the director, the entomology department director of this museum. I really liked how he took over guardianship of his nieces because his sister passed. I hated like her ex and what he did to her, and then also his parents are terrible, but her parents are great, and they had like a whole family text thing. The part that I didn't like was there was so much sexy time and scene after scene after scene after scene. Like I could see one good spicy scene, but man, there were quite a few. And then in the beginning, he was very attracted to her. So he was talking about her body, like looking at her chest and looking at her butt and looking at her curves and all of this. And I was just like I'm sure men do it, but like to read about it, I didn't really want to read about it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I didn't really want to read about him not objectifying her, but like the man's gaze. I don't want to read about it, and I don't need 12 sex scenes in a 350-page book. You know what I'm saying? 1, maybe 2, and I'm good. You know, 1 could kind of be like light and then the other heavy or something like that, but there was just so much in here of that, and I did not need that. Without that, definitely a 4 or a 5. But as is, 3 stars. I did really enjoy it. If you like spicy romance books, I highly recommend this one. I did think it felt a little bit different. I'm trying to think. The Match by Sarah Adams, a single dad, because like he's a single dad now, but I mean, he took over guardianship. I'm trying to think what else. It's hard for me not to have my romance books up here. Yeah. But 2 brilliant people coming together. Loved that. And yeah, that's really all I have to say. I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. Too much sex for me. But yay, that means I have completed the tic-tac-toe by reading The Things We Keep by Sally Hepworth, Reckless by Lauren Roberts, and of course, what is it again? Give Me Butterflies by Jillian Meadows. So thank you so much for coming along with me for this first episode of the Tic-Tac-Toe TBR Takedown. I'm hoping to do another one soon. If you made it this far in the video, leave the butterfly emoji down in the comment section. But that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a lovely day or night, and I'll see you guys again in another video very soon. Bye, friends.